My name is Liz Partsch,
And I'm Paul Rowley,
and welcome to Farm and Dairy's virtual newsletter.
where we'll be giving you a rundown of all the news this week. Well, I guess I'll kick us off, and not in a very fun way. My story this week is about more bad news pertaining to federal funding. So today, what I'm talking about is farmers and food banks across Ohio and the country are actually bracing for some major changes in federal food assistance, as a lot of programs are cut altogether or curtailed or re-envisioned by the new administration. This is particularly about the Local Food Purchase Assistance Program, or LFPA. That was a program that was launched in 2022 by the United States Department of Agriculture, and it was designed to strengthen regional food systems and support underserved communities. And so those are the goals. So it was pretty cool. But now, just months into the second Trump administration, the USDA is actually pulling the plug on that program. And the farmers that were growing for it and the families who benefited from it are all wondering what comes next. So for Gina Orr, I had the pleasure of talking to her. She is a farmer in Ohio. The program was not just about a place where she could sell food. It was actually kind of a natural fit, part of their philosophy of being farmers at all, for serving their neighbors. Their farm in Rushville, Ohio, partnered with the state's CAN program. That's an acronym short for Community, Agriculture, and Nutrition. It was funded with LFPA dollars that Ohio received from the government. Through it, the Orrs actually were able to provide hundreds of pasture-raised chickens to local food banks, including the Logan Food Bank. I think she sent about 500 chickens there last year, which is cool. She told me something that kind of resonated with me. She said to be able to supply a premium product for people who can't really afford it just felt really good. So she was really invested in what they were doing with this program. CAN allowed farmers like the Orrs to sell food at market rate prices to the Ohio Association of Food Banks, who then would distribute all of that food to families in need across the state. But that was before the USDA canned it. The whole thing, like
Good
that.
one, Paul.
So with no new federal funding, then the program, or rather the Orr's contract ending this upcoming June, the future for this program really looks uncertain. The LFPA program was a $26 million investment, actually, in Ohio. It helped over 100 other farmers like the Orrs channel fresh local food to thousands of people who really needed it. But according to USDA officials, the reason for the program being sunsetted is just due to shifting priorities and the rollback specifically of pandemic-era emergency spending. So food banks are really feeling the strain now, knowing that they're not going to have that resource anymore. And these challenges are not, of course, just limited to our folks in Ohio. In Pennsylvania, for example, food banks over there are set to lose $13 million over the next 3 years. There's a lot of support for them that they're not having anymore. At a press conference the other day, the Lieutenant Governor and Agriculture Secretary, Russell Redding, they called the cuts just absolutely devastating that they're seeing. Mm-hmm. And in West Virginia, I was actually lucky enough to talk to the executive director of the Facing Hunger Food Bank. Their food bank supports upwards of 170,000 people each year, and they're losing access to $1.5 million in that local food funding.
That's quite the number.
Yeah. Executive Director Kirkhart told me that she's now forced to purchase food from out of state, which increases the waste and food costs. It's much more expensive. So it's just a really difficult portrait of what's going on. And if you want to check that out, it's on the front page this week.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to impact like both farmers and, people that rely on that.
Yeah.
So this week in the Lawn and Garden special section, I wrote about the decline of pollinators and provided a step-by-step guide on how to support them.
Okay.
Yeah, the decline of pollinators in recent years is quite staggering, with some bee populations falling by 80%.
Oh my God, that's drastic.
Yes, very crazy. Yet the role that bees and birds and butterflies play in our ecosystem is very important.
Yeah.
According to the USDA, 75% of the world's flowering plants and 35% of the world's food crops rely on animal pollination, equating to 1 in every 3 bites of food an individual has.
That's crazy. They broke it down like that.
Yes, very crazy. Really puts it into perspective, right?
Yeah.
So Pollinator Partnership, a nonprofit organization dedicated to promoting the health of pollinators, they estimate that 500 bee species alone exist in Ohio.
No kidding.
Yes. And this organization recently held a supporting pollinator workshop in Ravenna, Ohio in March.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So according to them, the best way to farmers and landowners to support pollinators is to plant native wildflowers. Yeah, so there's multiple ways that they can do this on the farm. Some of these include planting buffers, windbreaks, wildflower strips in between crops,
Oh, okay.
and even cover crops. Provide a secondary benefit to pollinators as well as all the soil and health benefits to your farm. And so part of this workshop was also visiting Petite Green Thumb Farm, where owners gave guidance on how they enacted their pollinator fields. So it was a very insightful workshop, and to get tips, readers can visit thefarmanddairy.com to read the full story, or they could visit their local newsstand.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It brings me a little bit of hope that it feels like, like, as an individual, like we can do something to help the decline or stem the
Yeah.
decline of our precious pollinators out here. So that inspires a little bit of optimism
Yeah,
in
like
me.
you could do it yourself. Yeah.
Right. Well, I got to tell you though, not everything out in nature is as kind or important or cool as pollinators. From our contributing writer this week, Melissa Weber, there's a growing health concern right now that's making its way into more parts of the country, including Ohio. That's something that people might never have heard of. It sounds like a supervillain. It's called alpha-gal syndrome. So it's a red meat allergy that's triggered by the bite of a common tick. And as more Ohioans become diagnosed with this, they're learning just how life-changing and in some cases even dangerous that this condition can be. Ticks are so icky, so let's get into it. So this is the Lone Star tick. It's a pretty common tick, and it is the culprit behind this specific syndrome. It's found mainly in the southeast, or at least it has been historically, but now it's made its way far away from where it originated from, and it has now been detected in every county in Ohio, and as well as across Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So this tick has got some legs. The allergy forms after a tick bite, introduces the alpha-gal, I think it's a molecule, into the body, which then triggers this dangerous immune response that people will not feel for weeks or even months after they get bit, which is crazy. There is no cure, but some patients will see improvement if they avoid further tick bites. Advocates recommend, I think I got to try to pronounce this correctly, permethrin-treated clothing. You definitely want to read on to find out what that is.
Yeah.
Insect repellent and staying just out of tick-prone areas, exercising common sense, that kind of thing. But here's what the experts say. If you've been bitten by a tick and you later experience a kind of unusual allergic reaction, especially hours after reading red meat, that's going to be what should tick you off, no pun intended. Speak with a doctor about...
All the puns today, Paul.
You should speak to a doctor about the alpha-gal syndrome. Awareness is key, and if you need some more tips or resources, visit alphagalinformation.org.
Wow, so you can't even really distinguish them from regular ticks.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of scary
We
in
do,
a way.
yeah, we do on the front page have an image that might help with that. So,
Yeah. Well, in other not so terrible news, Tammy Gingrich wrote about the common native wildflowers that you will see popping up around Northeast Ohio that are available for viewing for a short period of time.
Thank goodness for Tammy.
Yeah, right. She's lifting us up with her,
Right.
Wonderful articles.
Absolutely.
According to Gingrich, spring wildflowers are considered ephemeral plants as the sun filters down through branches, awakening the plant beneath the soil.
Oh.
Yeah, so she described some of these common beauties as the Virginia spring beauty, the heptica plant, and the bloodroot plant.
Those sound nice.
Yeah, and she has some pictures in there that you can see them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So in other news, Pennsylvania has expanded its spotted lanternfly quarantine zone to Bradford, Sullivan, Venango, and Wyoming counties.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They're not so cool. I don't like those.
Not so cool. The invasive species, which threatens food crops, primarily grapes and viney plants, was first discovered in Berks County, Pennsylvania in 2014.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So since then, it's expanded to 52 counties currently that are under this quarantine zone. So Pennsylvania residents and even Ohio residents are encouraged to look for and destroy lanternfly eggs prior to their spring hatching. It's very important because these eggs can have 20 to 50 eggs in them. It looks like a white little splotch on like a tree usually.
Okay.
So,
That's good to know.
yeah.
All right, I'll keep an eye out for those. Well, with the lanternflies, we also luckily get some spring weather coming soon, turning our pastures green, of course, and the days are getting longer. That feels really good. But with warmer temperatures can also come more severe weather, so we got to watch out for that, you guys. So for farmers and rural communities, it's more than just inconvenience when that kind of thing happens. It can really be a real threat. So in this week's issue, our editor, Rachel Wagner, actually took a look at what preparedness really means when disaster can strike the farm. FEMA will actually tell you that livestock preparedness is a matter of national security. And so it's tied to our food supply, it's tied to the economy, and even public health. So here's what we can do, according to Rachel, to keep our farms safe and ourselves safe too, all of our animals we care so much about. It starts just with knowing what hazards are most likely in your area, whether that's going to be like flooding, or if you're at a more tornado-prone area, or if you have frequent severe thunderstorms at that time of the year. FEMA's National Risk Index is a really valuable, and it's a free resource that can offer help, and that's online for anyone that wants to check that out. Next, just assess your own land. That's what she said. Are your barns in a floodplain, for example? Could a tree crash into your fencing and then release the animals that are behind it? Do you have a plan for your animals if you have to evacuate where you are? Some of this might sound like common sense to you, like if you've kind of thought about these things yourself. But what really struck me when I read the article is that if you have a plan, you should write it down. I think that's actually really good advice. And that way, when something like a storm happens, you'll know exactly what to do step by step in case, something like crisis happens.
Yeah.
Another thing that really stuck out to me, know your neighbors. Being self-reliant is really important, but so is helping and being helped. And disasters, when they hit hard, especially in rural areas, people, of course, will come together and support one another. But your community in that kind of situation can really be your lifeline. Now, experts say disaster preparedness is not just about peace of mind. It's also about survival and sustainability. So for a full list of all of the resources and checklists that Rachel wrote about, you can visit Prep for Ag Threats, and that's a 4, like the number, .org or FEMA.gov, or just start at the article on in our paper this week.
Sounds like some good advice.
Yeah, for sure.
So Farm and Dairy readers will be pretty excited about some news we have. We are adding a new columnist to the rotation by popular demand.
Yay!
Yes, and she will be regularly appearing in the paper each week. So Celine Zito is a Western Pennsylvania-based, nationally syndicated political reporter and columnist.
Wow.
Yes, she has worked for the Washington Examiner since 2016 and previously wrote for the Pittsburgh Tribune Review.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she also has a new book coming out called Butler, The Untold Story of the Near Assassination of Donald Trump and the Fight for America's Heartland.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Let's check that out.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting book.
Yeah.
So this week, she actually wrote about a very big, important part of Pennsylvania history, the closing of the Homer City Generating Station, the largest coal-fired power plant in Pennsylvania. Yes, and it was demolished March 22nd. The stacks went down and everything.
Wow.
So she actually interviewed Sean Steffi, the business manager for Boilermakers Local Number 154 Union.
Neat.
Yes, whose father, uncles, and brother also worked the plant with him.
Wow.
Yeah, so it sounds like a very, legacy-based.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So according to Steffi, the planned closure will impact the local community's economy, providing fewer jobs. It will also weaken the school system as, the plant contributed a lot of tax revenue to the school district. So, the closure may not be permanent, though, so hold your horses, may not be that bad, as the plant could be turned into a natural gas-fired power generating station.
Really? Wow.
Yes, to power an artificial intelligence, local artificial intelligence center.
Yeah,
Yes.
This AI is all over the place.
Yeah, it's really the new, energy need. It sounds like we've been seeing a lot of that. So,
Wow.
but yeah, I guess you'll have to check out the new columnist, and we'll have to see how everybody, enjoys their column.
Great.
So,
Cool.
yeah, so those are our top stories for the week. To read the full stories, go to farmanddairy.com or find your local newsstand.
Oh, and thanks for tuning in, you guys. We will see you next time.